We'll basically go through. I'll be talking a little bit more about cross-platform mobile campaigns, giving a few examples of different campaigns that we've done regarding different kind of marketing targets and goals for different application developers in the past. And hopefully it'll be kind of a very helpful introduction to these different things. So first of all, I'll start off with a little bit about social clicks. Our goal is really to kind of lead the revolution in terms of programmatic advertising. Everything we do is based on big data. Everything we do is based on historical information. We really want to kind of help advertisers achieve better things and better results and really hit their targets. And we use our tech-based solutions in order to do that in terms of tracking, analyzing, running, optimizing campaigns, and really pushing for the best possible results. Luckily, we get to work with some of the world's leading game developers and publishers, and on a monthly basis, we serve billions of cross-platform impressions and millions of conversion events. Just quickly, just to point out a few of our clients. Also, we are a Facebook ads PMD. And additionally, we work with many different partners from Tapjoy to Google, Startup, Smato. Many of these companies I'm sure you've heard of, perhaps even tried working on campaigns with them in the past. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is first of all kind of looking at what channels and what options there are out there for marketing campaigns. What types of channels might be right for different types of marketing initiatives. Should you go for one? Should you go for many? Finally, in terms of targeting, we're going to take a look at the different options. Lots of different channels have different amounts of targeting that you can do, and they will determine how granular you can be when you're reaching out to new users with your advertising. We're going to take a quick look at timing. Often we find that timing is a massive thing, and you can really reduce your overall costs by finding the right times to advertise to your target audience. And we're going to take a look at a couple of really important pointers for creatives that we see come up or are missed often in different campaigns. And then we're going to take a quick look at just kind of measuring results and some best practices. Okay, so first off, selecting the right channel. There are lots of options out there. There's incentivized, there's non-incentivized. Lots of people, including us, a major focus, are working with Facebook. There are so many different kind of options for your marketing out there. How do you pick the right one, and what is going to be most useful for you in terms of hitting what you're hoping to achieve? First of all, really take into consideration the individual target, okay? Don't just kind of spray shoot out there. Are you looking really for a boost campaign to get a massive number of users as quickly as possible for a new application or an app that you are hoping to really build an audience for? Are you looking for kind of general long-term user acquisition? Are you looking to hit certain LTV targets or certain lifetime ROI targets? Which I hope the answer to that is yes. Is it really just to kind of increase your chart ranking and your presence and your visibility in various markets? Whether you're looking for particularly engaged users, because for your monetization strategy, you don't necessarily need the next one, which is purchasing users, but people who are going to keep coming back and playing. Is it all about brand recognition, which is something that I know developers and people working on gaming applications are a little bit hesitant to do, but it can be very worthwhile. And finally, are you working on acquisition for a premium application, which can be quite different than working for a free app? So the first kind of case study we're going to look at is for a very popular application. They were looking to do a one-week boost campaign. Their goal was really to make massive chart impact in the US, particularly in Tier 1. And in order to do that, we recommended using multiple channels. We went for both incentivized, non-incentivized. Facebook was also a massive part of this initiative. And the goal with using these different channels, particularly in a boost campaign, is that you can have really massive impact and you can keep the pace going for the period of time that you're looking to market. So for this campaign, channel rotation was massive. The moment that one channel seemed to be slowing down or was becoming a little bit more exhausted in terms of the number of users, Our platform can allow us to automatically optimize, cut that one out, go to new channels in order to keep pushing the numbers of users that are necessary to make the impact for a campaign like this. Another thing that was really, really massive for this application and their marketing campaign was pre-launch optimization. So optimizing all of the creative, all of the targeting, everything possible before you so much as press the go button and let it start running. That way you can have the best possible starting point. So all of this can be based on historical data, past campaigns for this application and other applications perhaps that you've advertised for in the past, giving you the best start point. And the result for this campaign is that they hit the top 10 in the US. And one thing that was really, really surprising and quite unexpected is that some of the best quality users were actually coming from incentivized channels. So it's really worthwhile kind of paying attention not only to the numbers of users you have or getting from a particular channel, and of course don't write channels off. It really depends on your app, and surprisingly an incentivized channel may work for you. And then, of course, great results were coming from other places as well. But really in this campaign, each and every channel played a role. One more example was for a brand awareness campaign, which we find are just often underestimated in terms of their power. So this was for an app that had a new version of it coming out. And people were very familiar with this company and their past products, and they really wanted to raise awareness for their new product that they had coming out. So for this, we chose Facebook as kind of the right channel in order to get people interested, get them aware, and get them kind of engaged with this new application. So the one great thing is that there are highly measurable results in terms of not just kind of likes for it, not just for kind of people sharing these things with their friends. You can really see all types of aspects and all types of results that are really being generated by these campaigns. This was run in over 17 markets worldwide, and while this was a brand awareness campaign, we saw over 40% increase in application downloads. So this is really a secondary result of the campaign that perhaps A, you wouldn't expect, and B, was clearly very helpful. So their name was out there, their audience and fan base was really built up through these campaigns, and they also experienced a massive boost in install and downloads. Targeting. Okay, so with targeting, we always ask, how well do you really know your audience? A lot of people will say that they've definitely got the basics, okay? We know that our audience is in such a country, and we know our audience is such an age. Perhaps they're male, perhaps they're female, perhaps they're both. But we'd really recommend A/B testing things that perhaps you haven't considered in the past. Go a little bit outside of the box, particularly if you have the ability on various channels to target people according to their likes or interests or past applications that they've used. You might be surprised by what you'll find correlates with your application at the end of the day. So make sure to utilize platforms, and whenever you gain targeting information from one, if you can, utilize that kind of information when you're launching campaigns on additional platforms. It'll give you a much better starting point. You'll have much more cost-effective campaigns. And of course, keep in mind that each of these channels will have a very, very different kind of focus and very different type of reach, both in terms of geography and also the users that are using them and that you can reach through them. Okay, so this one was very interesting. This was a bit of a surprise audience for us for a premium app, which is, it's quite different to advertise for a premium application. And of course, you can go for a straight download or install campaign, but often that can be much more expensive in terms of cost per acquisition for each user. So here we took a very, very different approach, and we worked on kind of brand engagement campaigns and like campaigns for this application. And the first thing we did was we took campaigns beyond Tier 1 markets. In the past, they had really been focused on US, UK, also Germany, France, and we took this to Tier 2 and Tier 3, which was perhaps not the most traditional move. And one of the most successful markets for this campaign and for this developer at the end of the day, where they were seeing some of the highest quality users come from, was actually Mexico. Today they've learned that this is really a target audience for them. It's a point of focus for them, and they're continuing to work and push in Mexico at this point in time. Now, earlier I had pointed out that you may be surprised by the things that correlate with your applications in terms of what people like, in terms of what your target audience does or is interested in. And for this application, which kind of gamified things that happen in daily life, we found that two of the most highly correlated with high-quality users keywords were McLovin from Superbad and TripAdvisor. So these are things that you probably would not expect to see for an app like this in any way, shape, or form. But by testing kind of thousands of different combinations, you'll learn that there are really unexpecteds along the way that are very, very helpful and really help you drive high-quality results. So for us, at least, this is one of the goals, to kind of find those unique out-of-the-box things that allow you to kind of hit the most high-quality users. Finally, overall, they experienced a 46% increase in their fan base during the campaign, and despite the fact that this was a user engagement and like campaign, they experienced a 10 to 15% increase in downloads across all markets throughout the campaign, even though this was for a premium application. So like these guys, if you guys are focused on tier 1, if you haven't tried other things, branch out, test other things, even if it's in a very small way. You might be really surprised that there are pockets of really high quality users out there who'd be very, very interested in what you're doing. Okay, timing. Okay, season, weekdays versus weekends, day parting. So finding the right time to advertise and reach out to your target audience can save you money, can really increase and boost the results that you're getting from your campaigns. At Social Clicks, we're kind of analyzing the timing all the way down to per hour, what users are doing, and we've discovered that there are a lot of stereotypical things, but also for each application, there are kind of really different patterns. So we'll take a look at kind of a little clock infographic that was for a fairly casual game. And we found out that for this game, people engaged with the application in a very similar way to how they go about their day during the week, okay? Between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., they were asleep, and therefore their downloads, their playing, their engagement was pretty much asleep as well. By the time they're waking up in the morning at 7 or 8 a.m., you see conversion rates triple over the previous hours, but of course they were slow, so this is still slow, but the advertising's just waking up a little bit. By 9 to 11 a.m., where people are having coffee, they're getting to work, they're starting their day, perhaps avoiding their initial emails, the number of clicks double. By 12 to 3, when people are on their lunch break, this is the first major peak in traffic for this throughout the day, where you have CVRs quadrupling in comparison to any other point in time. Finally, you've got your 4 to 5 p.m. final push before everyone heads home. There's another small reduction in traffic. By 6 p.m., it picks back up. And then the key hours for this application were between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m., where 40% of absolutely all engagement occurred during those hours, with an absolute high point at 12 a.m., where you have 2 times the traffic, 53% higher CVR than any other rate. So not only are people engaging at this point in time with the advertising, but they're going beyond that. They're converting, they're becoming high quality users as well. So this is something that's really important to kind of take a look at and also understand that it's unique to different games and apps. We've had different campaigns where for some reason Monday was the day where users were interacting. So it made the most sense to push hardest on Mondays. So each one really is individual. Okay, creative essentials. Okay, so first of all, when you're doing cross-platform campaigns, it can be a little tough in terms of creative, because every single channel allows you to do some things or no things or try many things. So for us, this is one of the things that we really focus on. We're all about optimization, we're all about A/B testing, and this is really what our technology allows us to do, and where we really enjoy our work a lot of the time. So first of all, whenever you can, A/B test until the cows come home. Don't stop, keep going, continuously update things. One thing that's really, really important, even if you don't like it, okay? Don't go against your brand, don't go against your image, anything like that. But even if you're not sure about something and it's not to your taste, try it. You absolutely never know what's going to appeal to your audience. We do this all day, every day. We're always surprised. So it's really worth testing even if you're not sure about it. Make sure to think outside of the box and try new things on a regular basis. And then another one that's really important, provide a really consistent experience. Don't have ad creative and ad images that make no sense for the game. You're going to lose your users on the way. And then finally, relevance is really critical. So just kind of a quick example in terms of how important relevance is. Here on the screen, we have 3 different images that are kind of ranked in terms of how relevant they are to a particular game and a particular campaign. The top image is highly relevant to this game, meaning that this is a main character. So once people are in, they're familiar with him, they know who he is. He's not going to be a surprise for them, so making him a part of just the initial experience and the initial contact makes sense right away. The character in the middle is a character inside the game, so they're relevant, but he isn't heavily featured. And finally, at the bottom, we have a girl who is relevant to the game in that she's designed in the style of the game, but she in and of herself is not a character within it. So we're going to use her here as kind of our control, and you can see that already when you get to the medium point, you're talking about first-time deposit rates that are 6 times higher than your control character, and once you get to the highly relevant images, it's 7.5 times higher. The average number of multiple deposits increases by over 600% when you get to the highly relevant character, and highly relevant characters are more than 5 times as likely as the control character, who has low relevance, to reach a much more advanced stage within the game. So relevance really is key and can impact your users and the quality of them all the way along the way. Okay, so audience appeal. I'm hoping that you guys are awake enough to participate with me just for one moment, okay? I know that this looks a little bit different here, but you're gonna have to trust me when I say that on this side, the background is very, very bright orange, okay, as it would appear on your screen. And on that side, the background is very, very bright purple, like a deep violet, okay? So I'm just gonna ask the gentlemen to raise their hand. If you're, not yet, but thank you. If you would prefer an orange background or a purple background. So gentlemen, if you'd prefer orange, please raise your hand. Nice. And if you would prefer purple, please raise your hand. Okay, so it looks like we have a pretty heavy lean towards the preference of the guys towards the orange. Ladies, I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand if you'd prefer the orange. Nice. And if you'd prefer purple. Interesting. Okay, close to half and half. Well, this is just one of the examples with the campaign that these images are based off of. We tried the whole rainbow, okay? We tested pinks, we tested oranges, blues, purples, yellows, you name it. And what we found was really surprising. Sometimes you just don't know why something's going to appeal to whom. In this case, women massively preferred the orange, and men massively preferred the purple to any other color, okay? With the men preferring the purple, you saw over double the conversion rates that you would expect in a similar campaign. With the women preferring the orange, you saw close to triple the conversion rates that you would expect in a similar campaign. So this really goes to show, even if you're not sure, even if you don't personally like it, give it a go as long as it's not going against your image. Okay, and finally, analyzing results. Okay, so we do this in a really, really technical, really, really programmatic way, but whether you're working with partners like us or doing this on our own, get down and dirty in terms of the actual data as much as you can, okay? Make sure that you're doing event tracking. I know that a lot of people don't necessarily want to take the time or deal with the technical setup, but at the end of the day, you will be getting so much more from your campaigns, and you'll know that you're targeting the right users, as opposed to just getting users who either install your application or play maybe once or twice and then leave you. It's going to help you get kind of the really high quality long-term user that you're looking for. Event tracking, as I pointed out, and then make sure that you're analyzing all of the various kind of mini pools of target audiences that you're getting to. Sometimes the really big ones are helpful, but they're not the best quality, and sometimes you'll find hundreds of little tiny target audiences that when you combine them together make a massive user base that's very loyal and engaged with your games and apps. Another one, if you're using event tracking, then you have the ability also to kind of base your advertising on the full lifetime value of your user that you're acquired, depending on how your monetization in your game works. But this will really allow you to get the best possible idea of what you're getting in return from your advertising. Sometimes when you're getting users that have higher lifetime value, your CPAs may be a little bit higher, but if you're tracking it, you will know that it's worth it at the end of the day. And then one thing that's very, very important is to really take into account any additional users, a particular user, additional revenues a particular user provides. You may be saying, okay, I paid $1 for a user, but in fact, perhaps those users shared that app with a whole bunch of friends and you really got 4 out of it. So that $1 isn't nearly as big of a deal as you'd initially expect or had thought. Finally, when you're tracking, check out what's most important for your game. Check out what really correlates with a high-quality user for you. Is it after one day, you know that they're going to keep coming back? Is it how long they're playing? Is it how much they're depositing or purchasing if you're all about in-app purchases? Is it reaching a certain point in the game? Make sure you know what's most critical and really points out the most valuable audience to you. Okay, so a couple of key takeaways. Make sure you know your goals. Test many potential channels if there's a shot that they're the right ones for you based on your targets. Select the platforms that best meet your targets. Don't be afraid to test things. As I pointed out in the initial study, one thing that we often recommend doing is trying a whole bunch of things or rotating them out, and it really helps you find the right users at the end of the day. In terms of targeting and creative, A/B test, A/B test, A/B test, trying new things. For us, this is something we do very automated, but even if you're doing things by hand, it's critical to test as much as humanly possible. You may be surprised in terms of creative. Things might not be to your taste, but give them a go anyways, because you never know what to expect with target audiences. And of course, relevance is really, really critical. And finally, when it comes to results, obsess over information. Don't forget to track downstream events to make sure that you're getting really the full value of your advertising and understanding the full value of each user you attract. Perform in-depth user cohort analyses. And then, of course, move quickly. If something doesn't work, get rid of it. Move on to the next thing. That's A-okay. And that's all for today. Thank you very, very much for coming. I won't keep you from lunch any longer.
Thank you so much, Leah. So we can have a couple of questions for the mic, and then Leah will stay over and answer any more questions that the audience may have. So are there any questions from the audience?
So I'd just like to know,
Yes.
on the 1-week boost campaign,
Yeah.
how much did your client spend?
You would be surprised. I can tell you that. Often we've found that I think when you're doing a big boost campaign, people automatically think that you need to spend millions and you need to get hundreds of thousands and millions of users, but you can often do a massive impact with a significantly smaller campaign than that, just because if you do it in the right way, you're getting a lot of benefits and a lot of pickup in organic traffic as well. So I hope that answers your question a bit. You'd be surprised, that I can tell you.